Hello there, dear friends, and welcome once again to the Relaxed Fantasy Review. Today, we're continuing our series on spellcasting in the New Player's Handbook, and we're talking about the Cleric. We're starting off our Cleric journey, we've already done cantrips, and now we're doing level 1 spells. Turns out clerics have a smorgasbord of spells at these lower levels, and I found something interesting when I was doing this video. Normally when I do these videos, I like to have a pair of spells that are utility-based and a pair of spells that are combat-based, as well as one honorable mention. And while I was looking at the level 1 cleric spells, I realized something. Almost all of their spells are combat-based at level 1. There are a grand total of 5 total that are utility-based here at level 1. Whereas the rest of them are combat focused. The way that I measure utility versus combat is a spell that you would likely use in combat, whether it's an action, a bonus action, or a concentration spell that buffs you in battle. Versus a utility spell is one that solves a puzzle but doesn't necessarily do damage or control the battlefield, or might take longer to cast because it's a ritual or because it just has a longer casting time. And yeah, there are a lot of combat spells in the Cleric's pocketbook, but I stuck to my guns on this one, and I do have 2 spells from each category, plus an honorable mention, which is a combat spell. But anyways, I just thought that was an interesting little note that not a whole lot of utility in the Cleric spell at this lower level of play. But we'll get into the spell's details here in just a moment. Before we do, I'd like to let you know, Relaxed Fantasy Review has memberships. For just $1 a month, you can support me here on YouTube and get a couple benefits. You get a badge next to your name in the comments, letting folks know you're a supporter. You get early access to my videos a day earlier than everyone else. And you get VIP access in my community Discord so you can talk directly to me. If any of that interests you, you can click the join button. It's just down there next to the subscribe button. And if it doesn't interest you, that's fine too. My Discord is free for anyone to join. There's links in the video and channel description. And if you're not into that, just being here at all, watching my videos, liking, maybe subscribing to the channel, these are all wonderful ways to support me. So thank you for watching my content here on YouTube. Let's start with those utility spells. We'll start with number 2 on the list. And yeah, the one I chose for this was Create or Destroy Water. Not one you normally hear about when you're talking about top cleric spells. If I had done all combat spells, though, I'd be breaking my own rule. And Create and Destroy Water isn't a bad spell. It's just a bit niche. You cast it as an action, and what you can do is you can create or destroy water. If you choose the create aspect, you can fill 10 gallons of empty vessels with clean water, or you can even make it rain in a 30-foot cube, extinguishing fire. Very handy if your wizard has cast Fireball with Reckless Abandon. On the flip side, if you destroy water, you can erase the 10 gallons of water in containers nearby. Alternatively, you can destroy fog in a 30-foot cube, which is interesting, actually, because it means that this can just instantly dispel Fog Cloud, or some other spell like it. Not too bad. And then by upcasting it, you can target more water, creating or destroying it. What's interesting is that obviously the rain is the most kind of like utility-focused idea, but don't sleep on that creating and destroying actual gallons of water. 10 gallons of water is 80 pounds of weight. Honestly, with a couple castings of this, you could burden a person down pretty significantly. I mean, you could fill a bag of holding with water. You could weigh down empty vessels, making, a cart collapse. You could even, in theory, block a doorway by just shoving an empty vase in front of somewhere and just filling it with water. Now it's way heavier, harder to knock over. I'm not saying that all of this is great stuff. Honestly, this is me kind of scraping the bottom of the barrel. But I will say that if you're going for a more puzzle-solvy and utility creative playstyle, you could do worse than this. So I'm going to give it the number 2 spot on the utility list. On the flip side, the number 2 on the combat list is a one that you all know and probably all love, and it is Healing Word. Healing Word is definitely a combat-focused spell. You cast it as a bonus action, which is why people love it so much. It doesn't take up your main action economy. You can use it and still cast a cantrip, make a weapon attack, or even just take the dodge action if you need to survive. Healing Word targets a creature within 60 feet of you, and you heal them with your bonus action and nothing but your voice. And Healing Word has been buffed in the new player's handbook. It used to do a d4 of healing plus your ability score modifier. Here at level 1, it's pretty common for clerics to have a wisdom score of 16, which means they'd have a modifier of +3. With a d4 healing, that's about 5 or 6 hit points. So it's enough to bounce a person back up from near death, but not give them a whole lot of healing. Now it does 2d4 plus your modifier, meaning that you're now getting closer to 8 hit points. Now, that's just a couple extra, but let's think about this for a second. At level 1, if there's a fighter in your party, and, they're on the front lines, if they have a constitution of 14, which is not super rare for a fighter, at level 1, they have 12 hit points. The old Healing Word would bounce them up for about half, maybe slightly less than that, whereas the new Healing Word will bounce them up for closer to 2/3 of their hit points. And what's even better is that Healing Word upcasts so well now. In the old days, it was an extra d4 for every spell slot. At a 5th level spell slot, when you are a level 9 cleric, and your party members are getting into the high double digits of health, your Healing Word was doing 5d4 plus your wisdom modifier, which was probably 5 at the point, meaning that you were healing people for less than 20 hit points with it. Now, an upcast Healing Word to a 5th level spell slot is healing for 10d4 plus your ability modifier, which is actually closer to 30 hit points. A decent amount. It's not going to fully heal people, but it's a bonus action at range. This is the ultimate healing spell because it doesn't mess with action economy. In D&D, the only hit point that really matters is your last one. As long as you've got 1 hit point, you can cast spells, attack, take all your actions as if you had full health. There is no penalty. And I think that Healing Word is a wonderful spell that any healer, honestly, any character that can take it should. So, and yeah, I'm giving it the number 2 slot for combat. Anyway, before we get to the number 1s, I'll mention my honorable mention, and that is the spell Command. Honestly, if you told me Command was the best cleric spell, I probably wouldn't argue with you. It's a very, very good spell. You cast it as an action, target a creature, they make a wisdom save. And if they fail it, you can give them a single word command. The command cannot do anything that's obviously harmful. You can't tell them to self-immolate or anything like that. However, actually Command has been nerfed recently. It has actually been given a bit of the nerf stick, because now you cannot use any commands you want. In the old days, it was just, here are some examples of commands, and they would give you a list of options you could use. But you could technically say anything as long as a 1-word command. Now it says you must choose from the list, and they give you 5. Approach or flee, grovel, halt, or drop. The idea is you give the creature a command, and if they fail their save, they'll run from you and end their turn, approach you and end their turn, drop their weapons and end their turn, drop prone and end their turn, or do absolutely nothing, no movements or actions. They just end their turn. What's best about Command is the fact that regardless of what you make them do, that's actually pretty secondary, because, yeah, sure, making them approach or run or drop or whatever is good, but it's the fact that they miss their turn. They do what you commanded and nothing else. A skipped turn is an action economist's dream. An action economy wins D&D. A missed turn is enough to swing most battles in the other side's favor. And if you get any creature on the battlefield to just not attack or not do whatever they want to do in combat, you are going to have a big advantage. Command actually also gets around the immunity to charm that a lot of mind control spells can, be stopped by. Command doesn't care if you're immune to charm. It just works. If you fail to save, you skip your next turn. It is a fantastic spell. It just doesn't have quite the same creative punch it used to, when you could pick any word you like and force, the Archlich to defecate. But yeah, no, none of that anymore. You pick from the 5 options and that's it. It's still great, but we're going to throw it in the honorable mention this time. As far as the number 1 spells, let's get to it. The utility option. We're going to go with Detect Magic. Funny fact, the Detect Magic spell is, I believe, one of the most common spells in the game. I think it might actually be the most common spell in the game, because it is on every caster's list. There are 6 full casters in D&D and 2 half casters, not including the Artificer, of course. And just the 12 of the player's handbook, and all 8 of them can take Detect Magic right at level 1. Well, when they get their magic. And it's just a good spell, casted as an action or as a ritual. You concentrate on it for 10 minutes. While you're concentrating on it, you have a sort of magic sense. If you come within 30 feet of a spell or a magical object, it kind of lights up and you can tell that it's magical. And it has an aura that tells you what type of magic it is. Abjuration for defense, evocation for attack, illusion for illusions, those sort of things. And Detect Magic, it doesn't tell you exactly what the spell is, but it tells you that it's there. It's a great way to spot magical traps. It's a great way to spot magical items. And because it lasts for 10 minutes, you can actually concentrate on it before you go into a room. If you need to cast it as an action for quickness, that's fine. But you concentrate, you enter a room, and you can just tell where the magical gear is. It's really, really handy. It's not the most powerful spell on this list. It certainly isn't, because we're, again, taking from the few utility spells that are here. But if you're going to take any utility spell, it would be this one. This one is premier, and I would recommend anyone who's going to be puzzle solving to take this. And honestly, every party should have somebody with it. But as far as the number 1 spell, I don't think I'm going to be shocking anyone here. The number 1 combat spell on the Cleric list is Bless. Bless is arguably the best buff in the game at these lower levels, because it's so simple. If you watched my video on cantrips, you'll know that I called Guidance the best cantrip in the game, at least as far as utility spells go, because it adds an extra D4 to your ability checks. Well, Bless does that, but better. First of all, cast it as an action. Lasts for 1 minute with your concentration, so you gotta concentrate on it. But you choose 3 creatures. It can be yourself and 2 allies, 3 of your allies, whatever you like. And those creatures all get to add a D4 to every attack roll and every saving throw that they make. If you think that adding an extra 2-ish to an ability check is impactful, try adding it to attacks. It's the equivalent of having a rare +2 weapon in your hands. And it stacks with magical weapons as well. And saving throws are even crazier, because a lot of the time, the saving throws you're trying to make aren't that high, especially at these levels. Adding an extra just 1 or 2 to them can be the difference between succeeding and failing. And because you can do this with every attack and every save for 3 creatures, that is a massive party buff. Even if you're level 1, if you assume everyone's making an attack roll of some kind, and everyone is making a saving throw every turn, which is pretty wild. That's not what I would normally expect. You are adding close to 12 to 18 to the numbers rolled in a single round. That's wild. And as you scale up into the game, it actually gets better because you're making more attacks and more saving throws. And when you upcast it, it doesn't give you more dice, it gives you more people. So if you've got a party with more than 3 in it, once you're to level 3, you can target 4 creatures. Level 5, you can target 5 creatures. You can upcast it to target the whole party. And it is genuinely never a bad idea to cast Bless. You could be level 20. Maybe not level 20. Well, even then, I'm saying, even at those highest of levels, adding a D4 to every attack means something. Like, if you've got a +3 weapon, but you've got Bless on you, it functions like a +6 weapon now. It's wild. Even at the highest levels of play, this is a useful spell. It never gets old. The only reason you'd be concentrating on other things is because there are other options that do other stuff. But as far as raw, mechanical, number boosts go, it's hard to beat Bless for most of D&D. It's that good. I want to give it the number one spot here. I think it's the best spell on the Cleric list. I would love to give more honorable mentions. The Bane spell is really good. Guiding Bolt is a personal favorite of mine. Sanctuary, Shield of Faith. These are all spells that are wonderful. But per my rules, we're going to stick with the top 5. So, number 1 spells I recommend taking. I recommend Bless, and I recommend Healing Word. If you want puzzle solving and utility, Detect Magic is good. Create and Destroy Water is fine. Command is always a nice option. So yeah, if you're playing a level 1 Cleric and you don't know what spells to prepare Bless, prepare Healing Word. Prepare Detect Magic if no one else has it. They will not let you down. These are spells that are well worth your spell slots. And yeah, I hope that helps. This has been the Relaxed Fantasy Review. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe down below. Have a look for the join button down there. And keep your eyes peeled for more spellcasting reviews coming down the line soon. Have a good one, my friends.